Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So today I wanted to do a flip through of all my spreads from the past couple months since I am preparing to switch to the new Happy Planner. And I did want to kind of share just my thoughts on this planner in particular since I have been using it for quite a while now. It's been about a good 6 months. So first of all, this is a Happy Planner. I got this back in November, I believe. So this is the July through December of the 2015 to 2016 year. And I did get the black with the little gold heart here. And I do have to say that the cover of this planner does show quite a bit of wear and tear. Hopefully the camera is picking it up, but I do keep this planner pretty much just sitting out on my desk, and you can definitely see just some scratches on the cover. But other than that, I've really loved using this planner. I think it's gorgeous. I obviously love the price point. So like I said, I did pick this up in, I think it was November that I actually bought the planner. So I have been using it for a couple months and my planning style has changed quite a lot since then. So I just wanted to do a quick little flip through. You know, I picked it up towards the end of November, so I think my very first spread wasn't until December. Yep. So this was right after I got the planner. I also picked up some little stickers from Michael's and I just made my own little to-do list. This was before I ever bought any stickers off of Etsy, so pretty bare bones here. So it's gonna be pretty bare for the first like month. Here I just used some washi to cover up the headers, and you can see I really didn't utilize this planner for a while just because I was really busy at work and I was busy kind of applying to some residencies. So this is kind of what the first couple weeks are gonna look like, where mostly I've just been using this as a giant to-do list and I'll sprinkle in the occasional stickers here and there. This was the week of Christmas. I think I didn't actually decorate this until afterwards. Yeah, so I feel like January is when I consider myself to have truly started, and this was just the first week of January, so just a couple random notes here. Just kidding, I still didn't really start using it in January. I wrote down a couple little work things, but whatever. Okay, so this was the first week that I actually got some stickers from Etsy. So these stickers that I'm using is from Sweet Kwai Design. She's the first shop I ever ordered from Etsy. So yeah, and I did order quite a lot of stickers from her, but I have a tendency to hoard things, and especially I like to just hoard stickers. I don't know what it is. So I just did basically my little to-do list. I wrote down a couple random events that I had, but I didn't even decorate them or anything like that. And kind of the same deal with the next week. Again, I mostly use this just for the to-do list. I wasn't really big on decorating at this point. And again, same deal. Wasn't big on decorating. It was basically operated just as a to-do list for me. So sorry the beginning is a little bit boring, but this is pretty much what my spreads look like until I started getting into printables. And then for whatever reason, I don't remember why, I think I was just really busy this week, so I didn't actually even plan anything out. I just wrote down a couple random like dinners and date nights and whatnot that I had. And this one was a little bit busier, so I do like that. This was at the point where my friend and I thought about starting a blog, which that didn't really work out because neither of us wound up having the time to really do that. But yeah, so this was my birthday week, and actually this wasn't very well planned out either because I was home for a good portion of this. So I didn't really even bring this home, I don't think. But yep. So now moving on to March. Basically up until I started buying printable sticker kits, I just kind of jotted random things down. I maybe stuck down random stickers if I had them handy. But other than that, it was mainly just the to-do list that I felt like I needed. So this was the first week that I actually had purchased a printable kit. So this is from the Glam Planner, and I was really happy when she released it in printable form because I love the kit, but I just was not ready to pay. I think her kits are $20 for a week's worth of stickers. That was just kind of a lot for me, and it still is a lot of money for just stickers, but I've kind of come to terms with that. But the printable, so this was my first experience using printables. I loved it. Obviously there are some sizing issues that I wound up having to, it took a couple tries to work it out, but I did really like how this turned out. My issue with this, and kind of my issue going forward with the Happy Planner, is just that the weekend boxes are shaded in. So I felt that that kind of took away from the kit itself. So the next week I wound up doing basically a no white space spread. Like the only white space I have is here, which I did still write in and use icons in. So while I do think this is pretty, I just felt that it was a little bit overwhelming. I definitely regret putting this little sticker down. It just sticks out like a sore thumb. But other than that, I do quite like the spread. It's just nice to look back on the memories. This was when I took a trip to Houston and Austin. So yeah, so then because of that, the next week I went back to a simpler look. But again, this green showing through really bothered me. So then in April, I purchased another printable kit, and again, this was pretty much a no white space look. I didn't have enough to fill this box, so I just left it white, which these colors are light enough that it worked out just fine. But I really wasn't in love with this kit. It was just kind of difficult to work with, so I went back to a simpler color scheme for the next week with just lots of white space. I used some of the Glam Planner glitter full boxes from her other printables, and then I just kind of went back to just a simpler scheme here, which I do really like how this looks actually. And it was at this point that I discovered Brittany & Designs. So if you guys have seen some of my other Plan With Me videos, you'll know that I love her printables. This was the first printable kit I used from her and I loved it. I thought the colors were soft enough that I didn't feel kind of overwhelmed, and she usually includes these blanked out full boxes, so that really helps offset some of the busyness of some of these spreads. So I really love this kit, and going forward, I think the next few weeks, they're all Brittany & Designs printable kits. So this was the second or third week of April. I love this kit as well. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah. And then again, another one of my favorite spreads. I did actually print out another one of this, so I do want to do this spread again at some point, but I really love it. So at this point, oh, and this is just a little folder I purchased from Mombi. I used to keep my stickers in here, but my collection has grown to the point where that's no longer really feasible. So going into May, here again, Brittany & Designs, I love it. I threw in a couple little printables from, I think it's Plantasia Printables, but yeah. At this, for the next few weeks, I do wind up doing basically no white space spreads, just because the shaded in weekend boxes do bother me, or they did bother me quite a bit. So this was my graduation week, and I do love this spread. I obviously had to go all out for my graduation. The only problem I have with this is that these stickers are quite bulky, so they add a lot of bulk to the planner, and I'm actually really glad I will be moving to a different planner, just because it made some of these pages a little bit hard to write on. This was a week where I was home, so back at my parents' house for most of the week, so that's why this is so empty. This one I really loved. I generally don't like super bright colors, but I think the inclusion of these boxes here kind of offset how busy the spread would have been had I done a no white space look with all of these really bright colors. So I wound up really loving this. And moving on to June. So this was the first time I actually utilized the monthly overview. This was when I had started my YouTube channel, so I was kind of trying to plan out videos. I didn't always stick to plan, but I at least utilized it. So these are printables from Plantasia Printables. So after the last few weeks of doing the no white space, I wanted to go back to a simpler look, and I do find that I like having a little bit of white space better. So I went and I used just some heart checklists and did just random little boxes throughout the spread, and kind of just used the white space. This was my Sweet Koi Design leftovers. So this was from my first ever order. So I hoarded these stickers for about 6 months before I finally bit the bullet and used them. But I am glad I did. I think this spread turned out just really kind of sweet looking, like very girly with all the pinks, and I am just really glad I made use of the stickers. Here is my second to last week in this spread, and I did wind up liking this kit again more than I thought I would. But yeah. And then finally, this is the last week in this planner, which I love how this turned out. This is a printable kit from the Organizing Companion, and I just love how soft the colors were. I think I finally found my planner piece where I have a good balance between, you know, still having it functional but letting the decorative elements shine, because part of my issue was I always really hated covering up the full boxes, because I always thought full boxes are so pretty that I don't want to cover it up to the point where you can barely see what's in it. So I do like having just full boxes at the bottom and just leave them alone and kind of planning out my day in the middle section. So I think going forward, that is what I will be doing in the new planner. But yeah, that is everything for the past 6 months. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.